Okay, so let's get started. So sit yourself on your lift and then come into a good cross-legged position. So just have a little wriggle about. I've got my view set up wrong, that's why it looks weird. So have a little wriggle about to make sure that you feel like you're sitting evenly. Perhaps move the buttock flesh out to the side. So hold on to your knees, lift and open your chest and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. Spend a little time just observing the breath. Filling the lungs evenly on both sides, emptying the lungs evenly on both sides. So before we do anything, we'll start with a little alternate nostril breathing. So if you recall, you just with your right hand, you close one nostril, inhale through that nostril, and then swap to the other nostril. Exhale and inhale, then swap. Exhale, inhale, swap. Exhale, inhale, swap. We'll do that about 10 times. So just some normal breaths to start with. Take a good deep exhalation and then cover your right nostril and inhale quite forcefully. Swap and exhale through the right and inhale through the right. And then swap. And then when you've done your 10, and just bring your hands back down onto your knees. Just observe how it brings more oxygen or seemingly to the brain. Just close your eyes and then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Filling both lungs evenly, emptying both lungs evenly. Observe how the feet make contact with the floor. Feel that they're contacting the floor evenly. Activating the shins and the thighs evenly. Sucking the outer thighs in and then feeling the tube of toothpaste action up into the chest. Observe that as you connect to the floor evenly, more consciously. The breath becomes deeper because the lift of the chest accommodates the breath. Very gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something, someone, or somewhere. Allowing a feeling of abundance to grow in the heart area. And then release the backs of your hands down to the knees, palms facing upwards, and then raise your head. Open your eyes, hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. So just feel how your feet connect to the floor. So the outside edge of the foot connects to the floor more than the rest of the foot. Maybe with this front foot, you roll over onto the top of the foot. Try and just connect with the blade of the little toe side of the foot so that the shins activate, the thighs activate. And then you can suck the outer thighs inwards so that there's this tube of toothpaste action up into the chest, helping you to roll onto the front edge of the seat bones. Hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards, take a good strong deep inhalation and then turn with the out breath. So again, it's not just turning the shoulders, it's trying to turn the entirety of the torso. So turning the abdomen so the belly button points directly to that right knee, and try and turn it beyond the right knee. Keep sucking the outer thighs in, lifting the spine, using the out breath to turn. And then very gently come back to the center. Hold on to your knees, lift and open your chest. Suck in the outer thighs if you can, lengthening up into the chest. Take a good deep inhalation. And then turn with the exhalation. Using your out breath to intensify your turn. And then gently come back to the center. Just get yourself a belt and stretch your legs out and hook your belt around. So have your feet hip width apart, but hook the belt around the little toe side of the foot. So often we bring it down to the ball joint of the foot. You can't see my feet. Sometimes we bring it down to the ball joint of the foot. That's where we normally put the belt, but I want you to bring it up a little higher so that the little toes are touching the belt. So have the feet slightly about hip width apart, with the belt just around the little toes, and then activate the legs. Push the heels away from the hips, and then hold onto the belt really firmly so that you want to try and separate your feet. So you push the little toe side of the foot as hard into the belt as you can, And then from that action, perhaps you notice that these outer thighs kind of suck inwards towards the inner thighs. So see if you can get that feeling to activate evenly, push in the little toe side of the foot really firmly into the belt so that the outer thighs suck in. And then notice from the outer thigh action, lift up into the chest. Breathe evenly and deeply. Soften the jaw, soften the tongue, press the little toes really deeply into the belt. Breathing evenly and deeply. If there's no problem with your back, lift up into the chest and then come forwards a little. If there's problems with the back, just stay at that first stage. Push in the feet really hard, the little toes really hard into the belt. Sucking the outer thighs in, lifting the front chest. Bimetallic strip in the front chest. And come forwards a little more. Then do push the little toes into the belt. Suck the outer thighs in, lifting into the front chest, maintaining the length of the front chest, trying to descend the back chest, the shoulder blade region, drawing downwards. And then gently release. And then come off your lift. And bring your hands as wide apart as your mat. Turn your toes under. Have your feet as wide apart as the mat as well. And then push the hands into the floor and then lift up like you're going to kick up into a handstand. Push your hands into the floor. Press the little fingers into the floor so the outer shoulders, upper arms suck inwards so you can lengthen into the spine. Lift the seat bones, straightening the legs, stamping the little toe deeply into the floor to activate those outer thighs, sucking up into the spine. Just breathing evenly and deeply. Feel that you can activate those little toes so that the outer thighs suck inwards. So you can lengthen into the front chest, descend the back chest, draw the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Filling both lungs evenly, emptying both lungs evenly. Little fingers and little toes activated. Step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Get a couple of blocks for your hands for parsvottanasana. And then have your feet as wide apart as your mat, turning the heels outwards so the toes are turning inwards, using the outside edge of your mat to align your feet. Stamp your big toes into the floor, stretch the little toes all the way out, and then stamp those little toes deeply into the floor so that you suck the outer thighs in, and then you suck up into the spine, reaching up into the arms. Breathing evenly and deeply, hinging at the hips. And then reach down and find the blocks. Tighten the kneecaps, lift the thighs, turn the thighs all the way in, lift the seat bones up, project the chest forwards. Stamp the little toes into the floor so you can suck the outer thighs inwards. feeling that the outer thigh sucks inwards towards the inner thigh. At the same time, lifting the inner knee up towards the groin. You can go down a little lower than do, but feel how each incremental stage affects the extension of the spine. Breathing evenly, deeply, feeling that those little toes stamp down. It's easy to lose the little toe, isn't it? So try and really activate it. Lift the shins, the shin bones out of the ankle sockets. Lift the kneecaps away from the shins. Lift the thigh bones away from the kneecaps. Suck the outer thighs in and project the chest forwards. You can go down a little lower, then reach around your heels and draw the body in. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then reach underneath your shoulders and then just come back to parsvottanasana. So if parsvottanasana is a struggle for your back or for your legs, if you can't straighten your legs, if you can't extend the spine forwards, and use the blocks underneath your hands. Bring your left hand into the center of the mat, so it's underneath your chest, and then bring the right hand into the small of the back. Activate those little toes so that you suck the outer thighs in and project the chest forwards, and then turn to the right side, rotating the right shoulder towards the back, the left of the room. Feel that the hips remain level, that they don't move, but the spine extends, and that extension permits the turn. Come back to the center, keeping the little toes really activated. Bring the right hand into the middle of the mat underneath the chest. Bring your left hand into the small of the back. Activate those little toes so that you suck the outer thighs in, project the chest forwards, and then turn to the left. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then come back to the center. Just reset in parsvottanasana, projecting the chin and the chest forwards by activating those legs. And then walk your hands towards the end of your mat. Have your hands shoulder width apart. And then step your feet together, into hip width apart. And then come back into dog down. Activating those little toes, sucking the outer thighs in to permit extension in the spine. To dasnarize the legs at the same time, hitting the heels apart, turning the fronts of the thighs in, so the backs of the thighs broaden outwards, so that you can lift the seat bones higher. So they all feel like they're contrary actions, but they're not, they're complementary. Okay, step the feet forwards, come up into a standing position, and then come up into Tadasana. So be in the center of your mat, inner edge of the feet together, spread in the toes. Again, stamping the little toes into the floor, sucking the outer thighs inwards. Now that action tends to make you feel like you're doing this with the fronts of the legs. The fronts of the thighs feel like they turn, in order to suck inwards, it feels like the fronts of the thighs turn from the inner side to the outer side. So I want you to suck the outer thighs in, but then turn the outer thighs to the inner thighs. So it's from the little toe side to the big toe side. So sucking the thighs in and then turning the thighs inwards. So the backs of the thighs broaden outwards, and that you can tuck the tailbone in a little. And then tube of toothpaste up into the chest. Breathe in evenly and deeply. So it's this sucking in of the hips that permits the upper action of the chest. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart. Turn your left toes in and your right leg and foot all the way out. Stay foot minded. Keep that little toe really deeply activated, the little toe side activated. Lifting this inner heel into the ankle bone, so the foot really precisely connects to the floor, so you can suck this outer thigh in, keeping the kneecap tightened, and this becomes really firm. And then stamp the little toe side of the front foot, so you can suck this outer thigh in, and it brings with it the front hip. Bring the chest to face the front, and then reach down, keeping the legs really active, feeling like you're working foot-mindedly. Turning from the belly button up towards the ceiling. Breathing evenly, deeply. Maybe notice how this pose starts to clear the sinuses. Maintain that foot-minded action, sucking the outer thighs in to extend into the spine. And then reach up, come back to the center, swap your feet around, turn your right toes in, your left leg and foot all the way out, and then straighten the legs. Go to the toes, activate the little toes, suck the outer thighs in, extend up into the chest, and then reach over, find the shin or the floor. Keeping that front leg straight. Turning the chest up to face the ceiling, turning the belly button up to face the ceiling. Sucking the outer thighs inwards. So in this position, that's not towards each other, it's towards the inner thigh. So really activate the outer thighs towards the inner thighs. So the back leg, that's kind of drawing down to the floor. The front leg is drawing to the front of the room. Reach up, come back to the center, bring your feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together, come back into Tadasana. So this action of sucking the thighs inwards gives space into the spine, and that is definitely the case when your chest is kind of facing the front, but it's also the case in parsvottanasana. So get a couple of blocks that you can reach on the right hand side of the mat, and then come back into Tadasana in the middle of the mat. Spread your toes. Stamp your little toes down. So you suck the outer thighs in, and then lift up into the chest. Turn the fronts of the thighs inward so that the backs of the thighs broaden. At the same time, it stops you, that action of broadening the backs of the thighs prevents over clenching of the buttocks. Tuck the tailbone in. So feel that the outer thighs are sucking inwards, the fronts of the thighs are turning inwards. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards the chest, and then step or jump, go nice and wide with your legs. Turn your right toes in steeply, so much more steeply than for trikonasana because we're turning all the way around. So turn those toes in and then rotate on the heel of the other foot. On that front foot, the right foot is pointing towards the side of the room. Now the hips feel like they get left behind a little bit. So pick up the back heel and then turn the back heel all the way out so that you feel that your hips are turning towards that front wall. This back leg hip comes forward. And then just have your hands on your hips for a second. Suck the outer thighs in, stamping the little toes down. So stamp the little toes down, suck the outer thighs in, and then extend up into the chest. Sucking the outer thighs in as you come forward. And then find the blocks. So sucking those outer thighs in and turning the fronts of the thighs in at the same time. That helps you to turn that back heel all the more. So sucking the outer thighs in by connecting those little toes. Sucking the outer thighs in, turning the thighs in. So that you can extend into the spine, project into the spine. Come down a little lower if you can, or find the floor. So stamp the little toe into the floor, suck the outer thighs in, tadasanarise those outer thighs, and then project into the front chest. Breathe in evenly and deeply sucking those outer thighs inwards, projecting the chest. If you can, keep bimetallic stripping that front chest, and then walk your hand back towards the back leg. Bringing the chest down along that front leg, but keeping those legs activated, sucking the outer thighs in, turning the fronts of the thighs in, trying to keep the chest lengthening, not just dropping down to the leg. Okay, and then bring your hands forwards again, bend the front leg, and then step forward with the back leg, and then come up into Tadasana, and then just come back into Tadasana, just resetting. Bring the blocks onto the left side of your mat so you can reach them, and then come back into Tadasana. Stamping the little toes into the floor, sucking the outer thighs in, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, tucking the tailbone in so that the front of the pelvis raises slightly, extending into the spine. And your arms out nice and wide into the chest, and then step or jump the feet apart. Turning your right toes in steeply. I'm cheating a bit. I'm letting this hip back, turn so I can turn those toes a little more, and then rotate on the heel, and then turn the whole back foot all the way out. So the heels are in line with each other, preferably. You go a bit wider if you wobble. Stamp the little toes into the floor, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, suck the outer thighs in so that you project up into the chest, and then hinge at the hips, extending the front chest, keeping the front chest long, the back chest descending. Reach down, find the blocks, bring the blocks down underneath the shoulders. Then reactivate the legs. Tadasanarising the thighs, sucking the outer thighs in, projecting into the chest. If you can come down a little lower, then do, but not at the expense of rounding the back or losing the action of the legs. Really work those legs, sucking the outer thighs in, projecting the chest forwards. If you can find the floor, then go all the way down to the floor. You can walk your hands back, maintaining the action of the legs. Then do projecting the chest forwards. And then bring your hands forwards, bend the front leg, step in with the back leg, and then come up into Tadasana. And the inner edge of the feet together, lift and open the chest, driving the spine upwards. Breathe in evenly, feeling the energy that you have brought to your legs. Activate the legs as we've been doing. Lengthen up into the spine. Extend your arms forward, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Bring your arms down, swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. And then release your arms down onto your knees. Bring your hands shoulder width apart, just in front of your head. Turn your toes under and then come up hip width apart with the feet. Come up into dog down. So can you activate your legs from the toes? Sucking the outer thighs in, Tadasana-izing the legs, lengthening into the front chest, allowing the back chest to descend. Come down onto your knees, stay on all fours. So we're going to go into rajakopotasana. So have your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Just feel that you find a comfortable neutral position. Spreading the fingers. Just breathing evenly. When you're ready, draw your right knee to make contact with the right wrist, and then bring the right foot over to the side so that the heel is going to be underneath the left hip bone, pelvic bone. And then just walk that left leg towards the back of the room. Come up onto the fingertips. And then lengthen the front chest, drive the front chest upwards. So can you suck in the outer thighs? Can you turn that that back leg inwards like you would do for Tadasana, so that the back of the thigh broadens outwards, bringing the hips more level like we did in parsvottanasana. Lengthening the spine inwards. See if you can walk that left leg back a little further. So you might just want to stay at this stage. If you want to go a little further, then point the left toes up towards the ceiling. Keep the front chest lifted. And then reach behind with the right hand, get hold of the left foot with the right hand, push the foot into the hand into the foot, and then work to tadasanaize that back leg so that the hips start to come level again. Lift and open the chest, right? You've got to draw the left side of the body forwards all the more. And then release. And then just come down onto your elbows. And then just rest in, pose a little yin. Rest for the body. And then create a couple of fists with your hands and then rest your head down onto the forehead, down onto the fists. So one fist sits on top of the other, and then that top fist makes contact with the forehead. Just allow the body to sink into the floor, so a yin version of the pose. Lift your head, raise the front chest, extend up into the spine, and then bring the palms of the hands down onto the floor, turn your toes under with that back leg, and then just walk that back leg in, and then come back onto all fours, so a little rock in the hips from side to side. Just feel how the hips are really different. And then bring your left knee to make contact with the left foot. Bring the left leg, left toes out to the underneath the right hip, and then walk the right leg. Walk the right leg back. Come up onto the fingertips and extend into the spine. Suck the outer thighs in. Turn the back leg inwards, like you do in Tadasana. Lift and open the chest. Extend that back leg as much as you can. So you can just stay at this stage, or if you want to, just point the right toes up towards the ceiling, lifting up into the chest. Now at this stage, feel that the chest is relatively level. When you reach back, so reach back with the left hand and get hold of that right foot, then the chest turns to the right side a little. So turn the right side of the chest around to the left side of the chest, so that you're facing the front. Tadasanaize that back thigh, turning the front of the thigh, of that back leg inwards, so the back of the thigh broadens outwards. Lift and open the chest. And then release. Just come down onto your elbows. Just a little wiggle in the hips. And then create a couple of fists for your hands. Make sure that that you do it the kind of way that the fist that's on top isn't the same one as it was last time. And then rest your head down. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then lift your head, come back to the center, just come up onto the fingertips, just extend into the front chest, feeling that the front chest points forwards. And then bring the heels of the hands down, just walk the right leg back in, and then just come back into all fours, just have a little wriggle in your hips, and then sit back on your heels, lift and open the chest, and then stretch forwards into baddangulyasana. Observe how perhaps you have woken up your body, how you can convert the breath into lightness. Walk your hands back, push your hands into the floor, and then come back up and sit on your heels, lifting and opening the chest. So staying on your heels, you can keep your knees apart, stretch your arms out in front, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your head, raise your arms, lift and open the chest, and then turn to the right side. Suck the outer thighs in. When the knees are apart like this, there's a feeling that the thighs can kind of bulge outwards. Suck the outer thighs in to turn. Come back to the center and then turn to the left. And then come back to the center, release your arms. Swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, raise your arms over your head. Sucking the outer thighs in and turn in the chest. Come back to the center and then turn to the left. Sucking the outer thighs consciously in. And then come back to the center. And then just stretch out your legs. Just sit in dandasana for a moment. Just extending your legs away. And then come down onto your back into supta baddangulyasana. So sometimes baddangulyasana is a good alternative to an inversion. We've done quite a lot of extending and twisting, so this is a good way just to rest your back, broaden your abdomen out to the abdominal walls. Feel that your shoulder blades sit flat into the floor. Breathe evenly, deeply. Support the hips if you need to, with blocks underneath the thighs. Lengthen your arms up towards the ceiling, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then extend your arms along the floor. Squeezing the outer arms inwards. Bring your arms back up, swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and extend your arms along the floor. And then release your arms, bring your knees together, get a blanket from underneath your head, in the back of your neck. Just make sure you can just stretch out without your equipment being in the way. Make sure you're in a really good straight line. And then just guide yourself down and onto the floor. Let the body release into the floor. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Allow yourself to just completely let go, unhooking the muscles of the arms and of the legs, allowing the physical body to become heavy. Observe as your energy rises to the top of the skin. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, just bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. Allowing the lightness to permeate into the skin, into the muscle, and then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a little grounding massage. And then roll over onto your right side, stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hand in Namaste. Just a final spinal lift. Bring your hands into Namaste. Close your eyes and draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then very gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you have just lifted your energy, just stretching out your muscles, lifted your energy, and you've got lots of good energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.